Good afternoon, and welcome to the latest edition of TABC Talks. If you have any questions at the end of the presentation, please either use the chat feature or you can use the raise hand function. To use the raise hand function, click on the participants button at the bottom of your Zoom window. When the participants window pops up, click the raise hand button at the bottom. When I recognize you by saying your name, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Today's presentation will cover TABC's product registration process. My name is Casey Cash, and I'm TABC's product registration coordinator. This presentation will cover a variety of topics, including product registration in general, when you need to re-register your product, some tips for submitting your application, how to find your approved products, and some upcoming features we'll be releasing in AIMS. So what is product registration? Before a product may enter the stream of distribution in Texas, product registration is required. An alcoholic beverage will either be classified as a malt beverage, wine, or spirit. All product registration applications should be submitted to TABC through the Alcohol Industry Management System, or what we call AIMS. TABC will review your application to ensure compliance with statute. Determining if registration is required. Product registration may not be required in certain situations. In-state brewers and brew pubs selling product on their premises to consumers for on or off-premise consumption or beer to go are not required to apply for product registration. Brewers and brew pubs must post the alcohol content in a conspicuous place and write the product name and alcohol content on the container for to-go sales. Getting federal approval for your product. So once you've determined that your product needs to be registered with TABC, you'll be able to apply for a TTB COLA. Products that do not qualify for a TTB COLA, such as IRC beer or low wine, may need a TTB formulation. Processing times for TTB's COLA approvals range from 3 to 7 days, depending on the product type. If your product requires TTB formulation, you may want to allot more time for approval, as the processing times are about 26 days. Once you've gotten your TTB COLA, you'll be ready to apply for product registration. Only one TTB COLA is approved per application. Each application requires a $25 processing fee. The application will ask for certain information like your product's name, alcohol content, and classification. The next step is to apply with TABC using AIMS. While you may only submit one TTB COLA per application, you may change the size of an approved product label so long as any other changes made to the label are allowable revisions. I'll explain allowable revisions in more detail later on in this presentation. Once you've applied with TABC, your application will be approved or denied no later than 30 days after TABC has received a complete application. An application is considered complete only when all required information has been received. An incomplete application is not considered received. TABC is currently approving applications in 7 to 9 days. Be sure when submitting your applications, you've submitted all the required documentation in order to receive approval in a timely manner. If your application requires additional information, TABC will send you a request for information, or what we call an RFI. You have 10 days to respond to our request, or the application will be withdrawn. Once a product is registered with TABC, certain changes can be made to the label without having to get a new TTB COLA and TABC approval. If the changes to the label are considered allowable, new registration with TABC is not required. Some common changes that can be made without getting a new TTB cola are change in label color, change of alcohol content, change of net contents, repositioning of label information, or addition of recycling or social media information. Some common changes that do require a new TTB cola include addition of new graphics, pictures, wording, or text. Rule of thumb is you can remove information in graphics, but you cannot add it. It's important for you to familiarize yourself with the list of allowable revisions to ensure compliance. These allowable revisions also apply to low wine and IRC beer. Amendments cannot be made to an application once it's been submitted, so I'd like to offer some tips that will help you get your application approved more quickly. First is selecting the correct TTB classification. This information is requested for all wine and spirits products. The picture on this slide shows where the classification is requested on your TABC application. The TTB classification can be found on your TTB cola in the CT box at the top of the document and beneath class type description lower down in the document. Please ensure the classification is correct when submitting your application. To ensure you're able to locate your registrations easily, we recommend you name your products with identifying information. Instead of entering the brand name as just the brewery, winery, or business name, try naming the product with additional identifying information. Examples include brand name, flavor, age, barrel series, fanciful name, or varietal. Some examples of properly named products include Joe's Unfiltered Orange Wheat Beer or Sammy's Original Single Malt Scotch Whiskey, barrel number 35. Saving your label images. You can attach up to 4 label images to your application. This will allow you to attach the front, back, and neck label of a certain product. And here's the easiest way to do this. Locate your TTB cola from the cola registry and open up the printable version, which I've circled in this picture. From there, scroll down to the label images and save each image to your computer. You will do this by right-clicking on the label image and then selecting Save Image As. Ensure the image is saved as a JPEG or PNG. Once all your images are saved from your TTB cola, you may upload those images to your TABC application. Please ensure all label images from your cola are uploaded before submitting your application. Letter of authorization. Because the non-resident seller applying must be the primary American source for wine and spirits, proof of authorization is required. When submitting your wine and spirits applications, you'll be required to provide a letter of authorization if you do not own the TTB cola being used for registration. This letter should identify the primary American source and specify what authority they are given. Finding approved products. So there are 2 different ways you can find products once they've been approved. You can find your products using the AIMS search feature or by navigating to View My Labels in your AIMS account. Applications filed prior to September 1st, 2021 can be found in our public inquiry. If there's been no changes in the label that require a new TTB cola, these products do not need to be re-registered in AIMS. And here are some upcoming AIMS features. In the future, you'll be able to amend an application after it's been submitted. If you notice an error with your application before it's been processed, you'll be able to request an amendment to the application yourself. If TABC finds an error with your application, we will send you a request for information that will open the application for editing. Instructions will be released once available. Another feature that's coming is a new payment card, which will allow you to pay for multiple product registrations at one time. Both features will expedite the product registration process so you can start selling your products more quickly. So I will now open it up for questions. Please raise your hand and I'll call your name. If you can introduce yourself, who you represent, and then go ahead and ask your question. Okay, it looks like we don't have any questions. So that will conclude our presentation today. If you think of any questions, oh, we have one.
Tyler, right?
Okay, Tyler, could you introduce yourself and then go ahead and ask your question?
Hi, excuse me. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. This is Tyler Rudd with the Wine Institute. I'm just curious if a label has not been approved or denied after 30 days, can the product be placed in the market?
If the product hasn't been approved, it can't be in the marketplace.
So if it hasn't been approved or denied, we just have to keep waiting.
Yeah, if you have a particular application you're referring to, definitely send us an email and we can talk with you about it. But definitely, if the product hasn't received registration, it cannot be in the marketplace.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Casey, this is Amy. Thank you so much for the informative information, really. So what is the purpose of the 30 days? If something has to happen within that 30 days and it hasn't happened, other than make a phone call, is that?
So I believe, yeah, so I believe that you can request a hearing. I believe it's one of our new rules that we have, that it needs to be resolved within 30 days. So yeah, if it's not within the 30 days, a hearing can be requested.
With no denial, you still have the opportunity for a hearing?
Yeah, let me get some more information from our legal team, and I think we'll be able to better answer your question, Amy. I don't want to give you any wrong information.
Well, the good news is apparently it's never happened. Yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah, I'm not aware of it happening yet, so.
Okay, well, thank you so much, especially for the tips. Things are confusing out here and the tips are really helpful. Thank you.
Welcome. And I see Justin has his hand raised.
Yes, this is Justin Engel from Houston Cider Company. This is kind of going in on the 30 days, but as industry members, where can we actually submit for a commissioner's hearing on if we haven't heard anything on product registrations after that 30 days with no denial, no approval? Because the code just says to write to the commission. But a personal experience is that right now, product registration has not approved 8 of our products and has not answered any emails and letters, as well as Ames requests into our product registration.
So I would just recommend you sending an email to our stakeholder, because I'm actually not. Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. So as far as what the process is, I'm not aware of it because it hasn't happened. And so that's why I recommend you sending us an email. We can, elaborate on that process. I don't have an answer for you at this point.
Okay, I mean, this has been going on since end of January. Emails have been sent, letters have been sent and received, and no one from the department has reached out.
Yep, and Justin, I believe that we've been talking with you about it, and we can definitely talk with you later on today or any other time about this particular topic.
Yeah, that would be helpful, because this would be the first time that someone from TABC has talked with me since February 1st. And I think the code stipulates that there's to be communication from product registration, but there hasn't been. I want to know what process is in place. Yes, it may be a new process, but some process should be there for the industry.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely talk with you about that and get you some more information. Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? All right, well, thanks for participating, everybody, and watching this month's TABC Talks about product registration. If you have any other questions or think of anything later on after this ends, definitely just send us an email to that email listed on this